The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA, Talk 1580, download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. It's Tenacious Tuesday on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. And on our show, we have our most tenacious guest, Attorney Barbara Arnwine, President and founder of the Transformative Justice Coalition and internationally renowned for contributions on critical justice issues, including the passage of the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1991 and the 2006 reauthorization of provisions of the Voting Rights Act. Barbara Arnwine, welcome forward to the show.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Barbara, just before we get busy with it, James Comey has been indicted again. This is breaking news to all of our listeners. Let me read what CNN writes. Former FBI Director James Comey was indicted Tuesday over a photo of seashells officials said threatened President Donald Trump, marking the administration's second attempt to prosecute one of his largest political opponents, three sources first told CNN. The indictment was brought in the Eastern District of North Carolina, according to the multiple sources familiar with the matter. Trump has long pressed for his political adversaries to face charges, including former FBI director he sees as a key leader in the perceived effort to weaponize the justice system against him. Last May, Comey posted a photo on social media of shells. Get this now, seashells on a beach, writing out the numbers 8647, which critics said referred to taking out or killing Donald Trump. When used as slang, the number 86 can refer to getting rid of or tossing somebody or something out. Trump is currently the 47th president. Comey posted the photo of the shells, writing in the caption, "Cool shell formation on my beach walk." Now, this occurs, and this indictment occurs on the backdrop and in the shadow and in the context of the reported assassination attempt on the life of the President of the United States and members of his cabinet, and probably lots of innocent bystanders, members of the media, and special guests at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, which has dominated the news over the last several days. Right on the heel of the indictment of this horrific event, the disruption of the Correspondents' Dinner, and what has now been the single charge in the case, and I suspect there will be more, the assassination attempt on the life of the President of the United States. We have an indictment on a threat against the President of the United States in the same ether to make the point that the Democrats are coming against us. Barbara, what do you make of this indictment? And just before you do answer, it's been my experience that when you're indicted, they kind of wrap everything up in a big old bow. You get indicted for a little bit of this, indicted for a little bit of that. There's no multiple indictments within months of each other after one is thrown out. Here comes a new indictment on a completely different subject matter. Why wouldn't this indictment have been part of the last indictment? Barbara, wrapping all of Comey's charges up into a big, beautiful bow.
Well, actually, why did it take them a year?
Exactly.
Come on, folks. Come on. What's happened that they're trying to distract the American people from? They're trying to distract you not only from the war, not only from the Epstein files, but they're also trying to distract you from the FBI and DOJ's incompetency. Let me be very clear, folks. I went to the prayer breakfast. I tried to attend. Your brother spoke at the prayer breakfast. That was late January. Mm-hmm. And when I went there, I was unaware that I needed a ticket. So I didn't have a ticket. I was able to walk past the perimeter On the outside, I was, clearly not of any threat to anybody with my little purse. And I walked
Oh,
into
Barbara,
the
you are a
place.
threat now. Wait a minute now. I'd
And
have
wait a
stopped
minute,
you.
let me be clear.
I'd
And
have stopped you.
I walked all the way downstairs, past crowds of people. No one ever asked me for anything. No ID, no check bag, nothing. And I got down and was, not able to get in because I didn't have my ticket. And while we're talking about me and my ticket, 50 feet from me, the president passes by with his full entourage for the prayer breakfast. If I had been ill-intentioned, I could have done all kind of damage, but I was not. But it speaks to the incompetency of the Secret Service, the FBI. That's their incompetency. It was bad that it happened at the prayer breakfast, and here they go again. People, be clear. The Washington Hilton, we have events there all the time. Presidents come and go all the time historically. That's where Reagan was shot, because presidents come and go. And it is the duty of the Secret Service and the FBI to secure the safety of the president, no matter where he is, not only in the nation, from city to city, but worldwide. So don't get confused. When he's talking about he wants a ballroom to have his little bunker to hide out in, be very clear that that's once again conceding that his FBI and his Secret Service are incompetent. Because if they were competent, this wouldn't be an issue. Obama spoke several times at that same place. Bush spoke several times there. Biden spoke several times there. Trump in his first administration did. But you now got an FBI and a Secret Service so incompetent that you got to have a ballroom so you can control on White House property, everything. This is insane. A president's got to get out there and move around and talk to the people. And if they're not competent enough to secure him, then what are they doing? So I just think that this is all nonsense. Comey, 8647. All right, FBI, you're going to go and arrest everybody who's been posting that? Millions have posted it.
Barbara,
you're going to just go arrest all the millions?
You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward, more on Secret Service incompetence. I have some stories for you when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft.
Oh no.
That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If we find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes to your financial accounts, we alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that could make all the difference. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
There's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now. Things are changing fast and no one knows what comes next. Times like these make you realize just how important it is to be prepared. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. They're America's #1 most trusted resource for survival food, solar power, water filtration systems, and more. Go to preparewithamerica.com to unlock a special offer that'll help you get ready for whatever comes our way. Go to preparewithamerica.com to see the special offer right now. That's preparewithamerica.com.
In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through the city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580. Your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive. Carpal tunnel syndrome. Heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis. a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the beat. Come on and talk with me.
Welcome forward to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580.
It's Tenacious Tuesday, and we're on the grind with Barbara Arnwine. Barbara, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
It's great to be here. I'm speaking to you from New Mexico.
Oh,
And
wow.
I am out here in the wilderness of the Tamaya Basin and just, enjoying talking with a whole lot of good people about how we did build our democracy.
Barbara,
and protect it.
most of this conversation today, I'm going to allow you to do just that. I do want to go back to this question of Secret Service incompetence.
Yes.
Share a personal story.
Yes.
And I'm going to leave it at that right here on the radio. Our family was blessed to have my father with us as long as we did.
Yes.
And what many people may or may not know, Barbara, is that Dad had a very, very significant role in planning his own funeral.
Yes.
That's just how long we had Dad with us. And
Amen.
certainly my mother planned and had to have her wishes honored. And from my perspective, that's all that mattered.
Yes.
My father's funeral. The day after his departure, we had a press conference as siblings in front of my family's home, my parents' home, where we were raised as kids. And my parents' wishes were offered. They didn't want to talk politics because they knew that Democrats and Republicans and others would be there. And his funeral was not the appropriate place for debating or arguing over policy and issues that matter. It was about his life. Most importantly, it was about my mother's comfort. And so my dad planned out every step of his funeral, including but not limited to the idea that speakers are not to speak more than 10 minutes. Those were my father's wishes. And so we welcomed everyone to that funeral. Everyone heard my initial press conference. Somewhere along the way, the state of South Carolina decided to invite my father's remains to South Carolina to lay in state, which was an extremely high honor in that only 5 people have ever laid in state in the South Carolina Capitol, and taking Dad there was important. Just before that, Speaker Johnson had made the judgment that Reverend Jackson should not lay in state at the Capitol of the United States.
Shame.
And so rather than go to Washington to keep it dignified, because the South Carolinians treated my father with great dignity, and my mother on our way to South Carolina got very sick, had to be hospitalized with a palpitation of her heart. So Jonathan stayed with her. But I accompanied Dad on to South Carolina to fulfill our responsibilities.
Yes.
While in South Carolina, I had to make the judgment that since we weren't going to be going to Washington, D.C., that I wanted to bring Dad back home and to bring him back home in a dignified way. On the trip back home, the same day that we were traveling is the day that the Secret Service did a walkthrough at my father's funeral. I was not there. I should have been there. I was on the 84 campaign. I was on the 88 campaign. I participated in the 92, 96, 2000, 2004, 2008 campaign. So I've been pushed around by Secret Service. I've had to wear pins, show credentials to get from here to there all of my adult life. I know the Secret Service, but I'm like the one Jackson that really knows the Secret Service. Right? So on the day that I'm bringing Dad back, I was unable to actually meet with the field agents in charge, only to find out that when they came, people who've not interacted with them they capitulated. Our staff capitulated to whatever they wanted. So of the 9 sections in the church, the Secret Service closed 5 of them, which I never would have allowed to happen. We invited 10,000 people, and you can't close, 6,000 of the seats. That's why those red seats were available in the balcony, because they didn't want people sitting behind the former presidents or in front of the former presidents. Oh, that never would have happened if I'd been there. They're not closing that. If you all need more magnetometers or larger perimeter, get yourself a larger perimeter. But we got a lot of people coming, and you're not going to do that. So they closed the sections, and that was unbeknownst to me. When we were waiting as a family in the back to greet the presidents, whom we invited at my father's funeral, our father's funeral, my mother's husband's funeral, a Secret Service lady comes up to me and tells me to get out the way.
What?
Yeah, I turned to her and said, "No, this is my dad's funeral. You get out the way." And we just stared at each other because the presidents were coming. And I'm like, these are our guests. They're not your guest. This is our venue. We've invited them. When they finished speaking, and some of them took as much as 45 minutes, not the 10 minutes that my father allowed it, we were only halfway through the program. That was 5 hours later. We should have been finished by 3. And so we had to move the family part of the program over to Saturday, because very few members of my family had been given an opportunity to speak on the day that they were there. And when they left, they took and emptied an entire section of the church. That was the 5th empty section before we called it a night, so that we would not have a funeral longer than anyone else's. All of that led up to Saturday morning, when the presidents were gone and we had a real homegoing celebration for the Reverend. So I understand, even at my father's funeral, they had taken over a parking lot with these new buses because of these previous attempts on the president of the United States' life. And they literally blocked a parking lot that held 3,000 cars with buses, so no one would have line of sight for the former presidents. And that meant that our guests had to park several miles away.
I know.
Ask Tavis Smiley. Ask Cornell West. Ask
me.
Ask Arnwine.
I was there.
Had I been there, they never would have got that parking lot. But I was in South Carolina with Dad. So I understand some of the arrogance associated with the Secret Service, but you have to stand your ground with them. And not everyone understands that. The extent to which they are setting up the venue. Hey, I get it. That's the White House. That's the perimeter of the White House. But the ballroom at the Hilton, which is where the correspondence dinner is always handled and where the correspondents themselves issue invitations, is different than the ballroom at the White House, where the White House will issue the invitations for what reporters they want to be on the White House grounds.
Exactly.
That's unacceptable for a First Amendment celebration. That's unacceptable.
It's just more of the fascism, people.
Barbara,
I mean, Hitler had a bunker. Hitler had a bunker. That's what they're trying to turn the White House into.
Oh, they're building him one. No doubt about it.
Right, and where they would determine for the correspondence dinner and anything else who gets admitted. And people, let me be very clear, they all the time exclude people who they don't like. And that's in both Republican and Democratic administrations. So it's not what people want. I think also, let's be very clear. I've been to the Hilton several times. I've always had to go through hell, to be clear, to get into the ballroom. You got to take all, they got to run, you do all this other mess. And so I was really struck at the prayer breakfast that none of that happened. And I said, what the heck kind of security is this? And so it occurred to me then that they were off. But also, people, this Comey indictment, let's be very clear. 8647 is a common phrase. You can look it up. Go to just put in your Google, your Bing, whatever.
No. Don't look it up, because we don't want anyone to think you're trying to 8647.
Oh, no. Millions of people use it. Millions of people have been using it.
For people, Barbara. I wouldn't say
and all it means is that you want to get rid of 47, the president.
Barbara, let me go.
And getting rid of him does not mean physical violence.
Just
It
before,
means vote against him. All of that.
yeah, yeah, the street's a little different on 86, though, Barbara. Let me just say it. The street's a
No,
little
no,
different.
no, no, no. I'll go and look at it. You
But you
know,
can't
it's.
86 anybody.
I
You
mean,
can't
yeah, but
86
people
anybody.
do it differently. People, it
Comey
means
knows. Now,
nothing
wait a
to.
second,
It
Barbara.
means
Comey knows
different
better.
things to different people.
Comey knew better.
I
The
disagree
FBI
with you.
director.
I think
said-
Comey was being clever, and he saw
Yeah,
that
he's being a smart ass.
it was a popular term, and he just said, you know, I'm in. So I don't, you know, I think that proving intent, that he was intentionally trying to say, you know, that the president should be assassinated, just won't fly. Just like their other little stupid lawsuit that they brought
Barbara, I got to play
against
this
the
clip.
SPLC.
Barbara, I got to play this clip. But just before we do, I just want to close that thought on that funeral. I've got to be
Yes.
the only person in the history of the world who did what their parents said do, including the dearly departed. And the social media took off on me. I've got to be the only person who's ever had or been a funeral for their own family, where the family had wishes, who made sure the wishes themselves were honored before social media just took off on its own space as if it was their parents' funeral. Ridiculous. Anyway, let me go to this clip with Jimmy Kimmel. Gina?
Comedian roast the room. The president, the vice president, members of the press, everybody got roasted. I did it once. I hosted it. It was a lot of fun. But this year, they said, no comedian. We're bringing in a mentalist instead. So on Thursday, 3 days before the event, in order to keep that cherished tradition alive, I did my own version of the Correspondents' Dinner on my show. I put on a tuxedo. We pretended we had an audience of luminaries. We used old footage of the Trumps, of Pete Hegseth, J.D. Vance, Kid Rock, Vanilla Ice, all the members of his cabinet. And we made it seem like they were all together in a room. We had a little roast. Again, this was Thursday, and there was no big reaction to it until this morning when I greeted the day facing yet another Twitter vomit storm. And a call to fire me from our First Lady, Melania Trump, saying I should be fired because of a joke I made, again, 5 nights ago. It was a pretend roast. I said, our First Lady Melania is here. Look at her, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow, which obviously was a joke about their age difference and the look of joy we see on her face every time they're together. It was a very light roast joke about the fact that he's almost 80 and she's younger than I am. It was not, by any stretch of the definition, a call to assassination, and they know that. I've been very vocal for many years speaking out against gun violence in particular, but I understand that the First Lady had a stressful experience over the weekend, and probably every weekend is pretty stressful.
Barbara, the FCC has now weaponized the licensing process and is now going after local ABC affiliates. That's today's news also, to punish and to have Jimmy Kimmel's show removed. Now, we've already been down this road before.
Yes.
We've already seen this story, but the Donald Trump administration, through the weaponization now of the Federal Communications Commission, is doubling down on that. How troubling is that to you and to the First Amendment?
Extremely. And they're not going to stop. I mean, as long as he's in office and his fascism is his number one goal, they're going to strike at the First Amendment, and they're going to try to destroy the protections of the First Amendment, which is freedom of speech, including comedy. And by the way, Melania Trump, you got something to say. Why haven't you said anything about your husband telling the world that a whole civilization should be destroyed, that he was going to destroy it? You never have said a word about that. Shame on you. How dare you be a First Lady and not say that my husband was wrong, or to tell him to walk it back. She is all about herself, all about her own image. It is disgusting. You know, we lack statesmanship in the Congress, and we lack dignity in the White House. This entirety of this indictment against Comey, this indictment against the Southern Poverty Law Center, they're all embarrassing and they're all disgraceful. And I want to be very, very clear, folks. Why is it happening at this time? He made this comment a year ago. White at this time is not just because of some cold Thomas Allen. It's because of the fact that Cash Patel is under attack and Blanche wants to be the new AG. They're showing off for their one audience of one, which is always Trump. Because remember, Cash Patel, prior to the shooting, everybody was talking about he was on his way out because of his public urination and all, and his public drinking and being absent from the job and all the things that are laid out in depth in the Atlantic article that he now has sued the Atlantic over. And in response to his lawsuit, more people have come up with more pictures and more stories about his intoxication. This is what you call distraction politics, people. Don't fall for it. It's distraction politics. It's the whole basis of this is to distract your mind from what's going on, just like they're trying to distract our minds from the incompetency
Barbara?
of what we saw.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. It's Tenacious Tuesdays with KBLA. Barbara Arnwine, she's wound up today. More we come forward right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Parents of the students tutored by Cole Allen, the alleged White House Correspondents' Dinner shooter, say they are shocked by the accusations.
Yeah, I did ask her. I showed him the picture and I said, hey, do you recognize them? And she's like, yeah.
Allen, who reportedly identified himself in his manifesto as mixed race, black and white, worked at C2 Education in Torrance, California. Neighbors say he lived with his parents and siblings and that his family was well-liked and active in their church. Black Birmingham, Alabama Mayor Randall Woodfin says the city is awarding $200,000 in grants for youth violence prevention. The funding will support 14 grassroots organizations serving young people ages 11 to 19, with money provided by the U.S. Department of Justice. And Megan Thee Stallion is ending her run in Moulin Rouge, the musical, earlier than expected. The Houston rapper says her final Broadway appearance as Zidler will be Friday. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Recall 67A mobile appointments are now available in your area. We come to you quick, easy, and under an hour. Complete the recall to get $500 plus a warranty worth thousands. Schedule today at CumminsRecall.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
There's a buzz around the Lakers camp today that Austin Reeves might play tomorrow night in Game 5 against Houston. Reeves is listed as a game-time decision. The Lakers' number 2 scorer has been out since April 2nd with a strained oblique muscle. Reeves was cleared to upgrade his workouts a week ago and has made enough progress to speed up his possible return. If Reeves is cleared to play tomorrow night, Lakers coach JJ Redick has an interesting decision to make. Does he put Reeves back in the starting lineup in place of Luke Kennard? Kennard replaced Reeves and has been a major factor in the Lakers building a 3-1 lead over Houston. No update on Luka Doncic. The NBA's leading scorer has been sidelined since April 2nd with a hamstring injury. The Lakers are hoping Doncic will recover in time to play in the second round if the Lakers advance. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the voice of reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
When did watching TV go from a way to relax to a complicated chore? Well, if you're sick of huge cable bills or endlessly searching for the show everyone's talking about, then welcome to Philo. Philo's the streaming service that respects both your time and your wallet, without needing to cut the stuff you actually love to watch. This means live TV for more than 70 channels like Hallmark, History, A&E, and Lifetime, plus a huge library of blockbuster movies and classic shows, and an easy-to-use unlimited DVR that lets you save anything you want, skip all the ads when you watch. The best part? You get all this for just $25 a month when you sign up at Philo.tv. No hidden fees, no long contracts, just a genuinely great deal. And new users can try it completely free for 7 days. So head to Philo.tv, that's PHILO.tv, and experience a better way to TV. Subscriptions auto-renew at monthly rate plus applicable taxes. Cancel anytime. See terms at Philo.tv.
My name is Cynthia Mitchell. I've been an emergency room nurse in Los Angeles County for 25 years. I've been there through every fire season, every outbreak, every earthquake. Every time Los Angeles needed us, the doctors and nurses of Los Angeles County showed up. And right now, I'm seeing another disaster coming. Trump's cuts to Los Angeles County's healthcare system are a public health crisis in the making. Medi-Cal, public hospitals, disaster preparedness are all at risk, but we can stop it. Measure ER fights back against these cuts. For a half a penny, we keep emergency rooms open, care within reach for working families, and doctors and nurses serving the communities we love. When you vote yes on Measure ER, you're not just voting for healthcare, you're voting for LA. Vote yes on Measure ER by June 2nd.
Ad paid for by Yes on ER, Restore Healthcare for Angelinos, sponsored by St. John's Community Health and Health Justice Action Fund. Ad committee top funder, St. John's Community Health.
The joint will be jumping. Ebony Repertory Theater, in association with Big Street Films, brings you one of the most beloved musicals of all time. Tony Award winner, Ain't Misbehavin'. The soulful, swinging celebration of the music of Fats Waller. From the rollicking to the romantic, this show is pure magic, full of the songs that defined an era and the voices that'll make you forget everything else for a night. Foot stomping, heart stirring, unforgettable. Don't miss Ain't Misbehavin' at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center, starring Lettucey, directed by Ren T. Brown. This is the night out you've been waiting for. Tickets are going fast, so don't wait. Grab yours now at ebonyrep.org or call the box office today at 323-964-9766. Ebony Repertory Theater, bringing the culture, keeping the legacy alive.
Ain't Misbehavin' runs May 21st through June 8th at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center. Get your tickets now.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Barbara Arnwine currently serves as co-chair and facilitator of the National Commission for Voter Justice, the Millennial Voters Matters Convenings, and Voting Rights Alliance. She was the head of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under Law from February 1989 until June 2015 and holds the honorific title of President Emeritus. Barbara, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
So much for having me on.
Barbara, I do want to put a big bow on my father's funeral, if I might, for just another 2 minutes.
Please,
and then we'll take it on at the end. So, I shared with you all what had taken place on that Friday, but what I did not share with you, and I kept it to myself until now, is on Thursday night at about midnight, I get a video for about 3.5 minutes from you-know-who wants it played at the funeral. And I said, well, if you-know-who is not going to be here, then and 3 other presidents are going to be here. And I'm not going to play this video. I listened to it very carefully over and over and over again. And just a few days before that, he began bombing Iran. And I said, wow, I run the risk if we honor and play this video of there being booze at my dad's funeral. So that's not going to happen. So I saw myself as saving the Democratic presidents from what would be an inevitable attack if there were booze at my funeral, father's funeral, and we had to respond to it. But on the next day, when my sisters finally got the opportunity to speak because they were knocked off the program by the long speeches on Friday, the musicians and others started playing music like it was the Gong Show. Now I said, and I'm not going to apologize about it, if we can listen to what they had to say the day before, you can listen to the people who actually knew my dad, who gave up their careers to care for him in his current state. Jackie left Japan where she was teaching, and for 5 years, she gave of her life and time to provide for my dad. We can honor him and honor them in that way, no matter how long their speeches are, because they didn't speak the day before. And by the time the First Amendment, Jimmy Kimmel, and what's happening to Comey, by the time all of this stuff hit my dad's funeral, I was the guy left holding the bag as if I had attacked people whom I did not attack. Why would I attack people I invited? It simply did not happen. So I'm wrapping that up into a big bow to say that in this First Amendment space, no one is being patient with anyone anymore. No one is listening or paying attention to just how slippery the slope is for people to have the right and the context to say exactly what they want to say. Had I played the video from you-know-who before the presidents who were there had spoken, there could have been booze at my father's funeral, and I wasn't going to let that happen under any circumstances. And that's the way it is. I'll live with that the rest of my life, and I'm very comfortable with it, feeling very, very good and strong about it. But it took me all of this time to be able to cite that what's happening to Jimmy Kimmel is wrong, what's happening to James Comey is wrong, taking these statements that people make, chopping them up into AI videos and dealing with perceptions of what people are saying when they are not saying what you think they're saying, and maybe you don't have the context. That too is wrong, Barbara, but that's the space that we live in.
Yes. And, and again, I will always say that I thought your family was so gracious. You guys could have ripped into Mike Johnson. He gave Charlie Kirk a Capitol funeral, laying in wait. There's so much you could have said. You could have had just a short, one service funeral, and you opened up the world to everybody so that everyone, including children who will remember this for the rest of their lives, were able to pay final regards to your dad. You invited people from all kinds of walks of life. People in the audience, people who weren't there weren't able to see the audience just cheer and scream when Tyler Perry walked in. They weren't able to hear some of the commentary that people were making, in the background. I sat beside not only people on your board, but in front of me were a lot of community people that worked long times with RPC. And they were making all kinds of comments about everybody's remarks. I felt bad for President Biden. I thought his people should have handled that situation quite differently. And they saw he was rambling, and that they should have come up and graciously escorted him off when they realized that he had lost his way in that speech. And instead, they allow him to ramble. It was wrong. And I blame them for that. I blame his handlers, his people, because they should have handled that differently, because he clearly was not able to handle himself correctly. So there's a lot you can say about what happened, but I am glad and grateful for you, for your family, for everything that you did. Taking him to South Carolina, Lord have mercy, that was amazing. And so many other things. And I love your dad so deeply. And his presence will never be gone from so many of us in our lives.
And I'm looking at Barbara Jean right now. She says playing music while Dr. Jackie Jr. was speaking. That was jacked up. JJ
Yep,
Jr.
it was.
misquoted by many.
It
She says
was.
ignoramuses. Yeah, I never spoke. I never mentioned their name. I haven't mentioned their names even while we sat here talking. I don't mention their names. It's not
Yes.
true. But I followed my father's instructions. I followed my mother's instructions. And my mother with a heart problem felt very, very good about the service. And I'm okay with the outcome. I don't care what people think or what the ignoramuses that Barbara Jean is now posting into the text is actually talking about. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Barbara, let me ask you this question. I'm sorry. Barbara, let me ask you this question. The state of the Voting Rights Act. We have about 2 minutes before we come forward.
Everybody, we are anxious over the KBLA decision. Of course, we always are. Every time I'm on the show, tomorrow is an opinion day of the court. So once again, we're watching. You saw what they did last night. I mean, that was shocking. That late last night, if I'm correct, they issued an opinion summary, meaning that there was no written opinion other than just a summary affirmance, if I'm correct, on the issue of the Texas redistricting. And they basically, once again, made it clear that Texas could proceed with its illegal and wrongful
The irony of that, Barbara, that Texas gets to
mid-decade.
proceed, but Virginia meets a federal judge the next day after the people decide to open up their plan. Barbara, what about that? I know we have about 30 seconds before we don't even have that time. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. When we come forward, Barbara Arnwine, the difference between Texas and Virginia when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
You better work.
She's rooted in culture and rising in power. Los Angeles City Council member Karen D. Price Jr. invites you to the District 9 Women's Leadership Summit, a powerful gathering celebrating the women who shape our communities. Join us Sunday, May 3rd from 1 to 6 p.m. Registration is open now, but space is limited. District 9 residents receive special priority. This event is free. Call 323-846-2651 to reserve your spot. That's 323-846-2651. Be rooted, be powerful, be there.
Getting around LA doesn't have to cost a lot. Metro has fares that fit every budget. 20 free rides for qualified riders through the Life Fare program. Free passes for students with GoPass and affordable options for everyone in between. Wherever you're going, Metro's got you covered. Visit metro.net/fare programs.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-729-7070. That's 1-800-729-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-729-7070. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. At the heart of the Al Wooten Center's mission for good citizenship and academic excellence is a desire to ensure that every student avoids the kind of lifestyle and overcomes the kinds of challenges that led to the murder of Al Wooten Jr. In 1990, founder Myrtle Faye Rumpf opened the center in honor of her son's life. In 2026, they are serving more than 300 students in grades 3 through 12 annually online and on site at their youth center and other sites in the South LA area. The Al Wooten Jr. Youth Center takes a neighborhood approach to the revitalization and empowerment of a community in crisis. The Wooten Center provides free after-school and summer programs to help students in grades 3 through 12 attain grade-level proficiency and promotion, high school graduation, and college and career access and success. The Al Wooten Center focuses on academics, STEM, the arts, and so much more. Join them for an enriching experience that sparks creativity and nurtures young minds. Tap in at WootenCenter.org. That's WootenCenter.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Created with a share of the 1984 Olympic Games surplus, LA 84 began operations in 1985 as a grant-making and educational foundation. Today, the LA 84 Foundation supports hundreds of nonprofit youth sports organizations throughout Southern California annually, trains coaches, commissions research, convenes conferences, and maintains the world's premier Olympic and sports library collection. They are transforming lives and communities through the power of youth sports. To find out about youth sports programs for yourself or your child, and to get information about the grants and support they offer to schools and nonprofits, or if you want to make a donation, please visit la84.org. That's la84.org. Or you can call them at 323-730-4600. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. A-rated by the Better Business Bureau, their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Wally drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Barbara Arnwine is the president and founder of the Transformative Justice Coalition. Born in Southern California, Barbara Arnwine is a graduate of Scripps College and Duke University School of Law. Barbara, welcome forward to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me. And hello, Los Angeles, and all the great people of Southern California. And I just cut a video for the SCLC of Southern California in
Oh,
honor
wow.
of one of their upcoming programs with Reverend William Smart, and just so delighted always to be speaking and working with Southern California civil rights and racial justice organizations.
Barbara, can you share with us the difference between the assent of the people in Virginia to change their plan during this redistricting season and in Texas, where the people themselves were not engaged?
Not
It
at all.
was a deal between the governor and the legislature to pick up 4 more seats because Donald Trump called and asked for them. Share with us what that problem represents nationally.
Well, it's to me it's significant that in both California and in Virginia, where you had Democratic governors, that they gave these measures to the people to decide. But in all these other states, the GOP controlled states, they've done it mainly through the legislatures. All of them. There hasn't been any plebiscites. They're all been through the legislature. So it tells you that, once again, hand in hand, going and kissing the ring of this president. It is so important for us to understand that democracy has to survive Trump. That Trump is just an interim holder of office. He is not, despite his fantasies and hallucinations and delusions, he is not a forever president. And neither will his children somehow be a dynasty. This is just not happening. And I am, grateful that the people of Virginia voted the way they did. I keep telling people there's a new voter. The voter that you saw in 2024 is gone. I'm not saying totally gone, but he's been replaced or she's been replaced by the voters of 2025 and 2026. And what are we seeing? The biggest difference between 2024 and 2025 and 2026 is attention. Voters are educating themselves. They spent $17 million lying in Virginia. 17 million. I mean, constant bombardment of ad upon ad talking about this was going to destroy the 2 existing black districts. A lie. Saying that it was Jim Crow 3. A lie. All of this. They just had all these deceptions and all of these things, and the voters read through it. They saw through it. They would not have done that in 2024. In 2024, they would have just gone with the flow and said, okay, I guess. If I'm not sure, I'll just stay home. This time, people say, I'm going to study this stuff. I'm going to find out what the facts are, and I'm going to get out there and vote. That voter, we saw that voter in Pennsylvania. We saw that voter in California during the redistricting plebiscite. We saw that voter again in Virginia, and we've been seeing that voter all over the country. There is a change happening, and it's for the better. We just got to feed people with the right information. We got to get people into the streets. Thank you. Not only No Kings 3, but thank you for everybody who will show up on Friday for May Day Strong and for Law Day. I will be speaking at the Supreme Court of the United States at 12 noon on Friday as part of Law Day, May Day, and hopefully, joining Free DC. Project.org and others at the Washington Monument thereafter and marching. Folks, we have to stand up for what we believe, just like you stood up for your sister. We got to stand up for what we believe. We do not sit around and take just whatever somebody throws at us. It's our destiny. We set the new paths for it.
Barbara, we have a little less than 1 minute. I really wanted to talk about, for 1 second, that $10 billion lawsuit that the Department of Justice, the Department of the IRS, and are trying to settle on behalf of the president's favor by avoiding the entire judicial process. $10 billion, as many of you may know, is far more money than Donald Trump is even worth, but he doesn't have to go to court. It seems that the Department of Justice, the Internal Revenue Service, can all come to some kind of agreement and actually pay a settlement to Donald Trump, which could just undermine the full faith and credit, as far as I'm concerned, of the United States entirely. Barbara, with all of that said, how can we support the Transformative Justice Coalition? We have about 30 seconds left, Barbara.
TJcoalition.org, TJcoalition.org. And thank you for those who have been giving. Thank you, please. TJcoalition.org. Help us to do the John Lewis Good Trouble, July 17th through the 19th. We're going to be in these streets. Come and get ready, everybody. We are the new majority, and we will make sure that in 2026, this country regains its common sense.
Barbara, I can't wait to see the new Michael Jackson movie with you. Make some time for me on your schedule. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been listening to Barbara Arnwine, the president and founder of the Transformative Justice Coalition. Always informative, always thoughtful, always clear, and always representing our people. More on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Until tomorrow.
KBLA